Welcome to the Snazzy and Sage podcast. I'm Dr. Carrie, your host and coach. Each week, I chat with remarkable guests who are thriving in their next chapter with confidence, purpose, and style. Because the next chapter isn't about age, it's all about attitude. Let's dive in. Today's guests, Tim and Deb Smith, grew up near Rochester, New York, and have such an inspiring story to share. Both spent their careers as teachers, and in fact, Tim was actually one of my high school English teachers in Victor, New York. After retiring, they began new careers as writers, first for their local paper and later as authors of several nonfiction books. Tim and Deb, welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Hey,
Carrie.
Carrie. So good to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. So let's start with a little background. Could you tell me a little bit about yourselves, where you live, where you went to college, your career paths, and how your story began?
We met on the first day of high school, dated for all 4 years, then went to different colleges, ended up not seeing each other again for literally 40 years until my mom passed away.
And I heard about it through the grapevine in Virginia Beach where I was teaching. So I sent Tim a sympathy card. He wrote back, one thing led to another. And after I retired from teaching in Virginia Beach that year, he came down, he picked me up and brought me back home. And now we're married and living happily ever after in small town USA. But one unique aspect to our courtship after we reconnected was that every day when I would go to the faculty room, there would be an envelope from Tim waiting for me. The contents would be a letter that I had written to him 40 years ago. He saved them all.
Took me a long time to play those cards.
My gosh, that's such a beautiful story, and it feels like it's meant to be. And I have to tell you, as I'm single and ready to mingle, looking for my future ex-husband, I am so inspired by that story that it doesn't matter. You can find love or have love rekindled at any age. And I love how you both transitioned from teaching to writing. How did that journey begin? And what inspired you to start writing books?
Well, as fate would have it, our house is right next door to the local newspaper office. And after we shared our backstory with the owner, he asked us to write up an article for the paper. And after that, we just started writing for the back page as feature writers. They enjoyed it so much. So then after a few years of that, he said, "You guys are so good. People love your stuff. You should write a book." And that led to our first book, which was called The Beatles, the Bible, and Manson. And since then, we've managed to complete one book per year.
And now together, you've written several books. Could you please share some of the titles of each?
Sure. Our second book was titled, and this was written in 2020, Tit for Tat Exchanges, Tim and Deb's Greatest Hits, which collected the best of the weekly features we had been writing for 5 years at that point.
In 2021, third book we did was called What's in a Name? And in this one, we span the globe to examine backstories of the geographical places with the quirkiest names.
And our fourth book, which came out in 2022, was called Black's Facts.
In 2023, with the next book, which was called Walking in a Women's Wonderland.
The 2024 project, which was called Crowning the Animal Kingdom.
And then finally, our most recent book, which came out earlier this year, was a salute to our hometown in Western New York, which was called Royally Regaling Greater Rochester.
And I love that it's your passion. And not only was it your work for so many years, but now it's your retirement. But for you guys, this is fun.
Yes. And you should share the story about what you used to write before we were together.
Yeah, back in the 90s, I was doing a lot of work with animation and different topics related to that. And I had some articles published in different magazines, and people would come to me and say, you know, you've published all this material. You must really love to write. You know, and in thinking about it, the answer that I kind of honestly arrived at is that, you know, it's not so much that I loved writing. I loved having written. And to just kind of explain that idea, just the sense of accomplishment that you get when you finish something and you know it's good and you know it's going to have a destination, you know, that was really the reward with it. But the difference after having gotten back together with Deb is that as we analyze the whole process now, we love it when we finish something, but it's fun just working together on it. And sometimes we crack ourselves up. We'll be sitting here on the four corners of Mendon and, have complete something and just, we're laughing out loud and just thinking that, well done, partner.
And that's so great that you found something that brings both of you joy that you can do together. And I love what you said about accomplishing something. It's the fact that you've written, that you've done something. And I think everyone who's listening has a bucket list, and that bucket list maybe changes. I know for me, I had writing a book on a bucket list, and I wrote Seduce Your Customers. The way I went about that, and it felt so overwhelming to me. But every Sunday for an entire year, that was my New Year's resolution. I went to a coffee shop in Fort Lauderdale. For 2 hours on Sunday, I wrote. That was the first year. I had the draft. I worked with a creative editor. Second year, I edited, which took just as much time as the writing. And by year 3, I published. So at that point, it didn't feel overwhelming. And I was able to set it into little bits. And it feels so great that I've got that check mark off my list.
Yes.
Yeah, we know the feeling. It's a good one.
So at this point in your life, besides writing, what brings you joy and keeps you inspired these days?
Well, I think it's just the status in the community that we have come to hold. If anything's going on, we're the people that they come to. And when we go to the grocery store, because our picture's in the paper a couple times every single week. So there's often times when people come up and say, you don't know me, but I appreciate what you've done for the community and keep up the good work. And just that, that positive interaction. And, it's kind of like being a big fish in a small pond, I guess, to do what we're doing here.
And Carrie, we do it as a blessing. We've never gotten paid for all our paper writing for us. We do it because we're giving back to our community.
And every time a new business opens up in the community, we'll go and interview them and try to help them get started. And so we've met so many people through this experience. It's been, a wonderful one.
And and living in so many parts of the country, but coming back to upstate New York, to the Victor area, it's such a great community that people want to lift each other up and help one another, which is amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, you're both known for your unique sense of style. And here on the Snazzy and Sage podcast, we always have to talk about style. So what are some of your go-to or favorite things to wear?
Probably the most unique thing in that regard is we have a collection of international sports jerseys, and we look for opportunities to pull those into play on different projects.
And for listeners who want to read your work, where can they find your books online?
Well, they're all on Amazon, and type in Tim and Deb Smith. That's it, and all 7 of them pop up.
And finally, I wanted to ask, what's next for you? Tell us about your upcoming project.
Well, the 8th book is going to be called Every Day's a Holiday, and it's a fun topic because there's like 4 tiers of holidays. There's the federal ones. There's 11 of those. Then there's holidays that everybody knows, but they're not official holidays, like Halloween, Valentine's Day. And then the level that's been the most fun is that if you go to certain websites, every day has 10 unofficial holidays that are designated for that. We just look for one where it was like, yeah, I've got a funny idea on that topic that we can go with and come up with it. And, we've been plugging away at it, and it's basically drafted at this point, but we just got some fine-tuning things to do. And, that one's going to be ready to roll sometime next year.
Well, as a stand-up comedian, I have to say that I love your sense of humor. And if you ever get the courage to get on stage, go to an open mic, you can take some of your humor. It's so apparent in the writing of your books, and humor is such a good medicine for when you're feeling down. Tim and Deb, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story, from young love to teaching to rediscovering each other and building a whole new chapter as authors. Your journey is such a wonderful reminder that it's never too late to begin again, to follow your passions and create something meaningful together.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you for tuning in to Snazzy and Sage. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Want to elevate your style and confidence? Visit snazzyandsage.com to explore individual and group coaching that helps you look and feel your best from the inside out. Until next time, stay snazzy.